Oh, hey! What's up, everybody? Welcome to Super Sentai Beer Guys. We're going to be doing a top 5 countdown of some of our most nostalgic games. These are games that are not exactly our favorite games, but the games that bring back the most childhood memories, that bring us back to that special place when we were so young, innocent, and had so much fun playing video games. I mean, once I became an adult, I really didn't have the same thrill from playing video games that I did when I was younger.
Yeah, the real world kind of crushes, like, like the whole innocence, like, playing games as, as a kid. So, I think just going back and revisiting all that with our top 5 is definitely going to be great.
So the games that bring back the most memories for me, we're going to start at number 5. And my 5th most favorite nostalgic game, the game that brings me back to being younger. This isn't one of my youngest games, but Halo 2 brought me back to when I was probably 14, 15. I don't remember when that game was released specifically, but I remember Halo 1 being one of the first games that me and my friends had sleepovers. We were probably in middle school, and we had sleepovers playing this game, and we would jump up and down, and we'd get so excited, and we'd scream and yell because of how much fun we'd be having until the parents came down and fucking yelled at us.
Or somebody got that fucking pistol. That pistol was ridiculous in the first one.
The pistol was probably the best weapon, honestly.
Absolutely.
But when Halo 2 came out, it was just like a revolution of the Halo 1 experience. People said that Halo was probably the first console perfection of the PC shooter, and they were absolutely right. It was like playing a PC shooter on a console. And when Halo 2 came out, we formed a Monday Night Halo LAN group, and it was my first time ever playing online matchmaking, and it was completely insane. Not to mention the fact that the campaign was so wonderful. I played every mode up until Legendary, and I kept on playing Legendary until I could just own all my friends in every Halo night we had. 16-player Halo, I hosted as many times as I could, and I kicked some ass, and I can't wait to do it again, because we still do those LAN nights for Halo 2.
Yeah, doing Legendary, man, that's...
It's hardcore!
Yeah, that's some hardcore shit right there.
So that's my number 5!
Huh. So my number 5, it's gotta be Buck Bumble for the N64. Now that game definitely holds a special place in my heart, mainly because that's the first game I ever got from my parents. I got that actually on Easter in my Easter basket. And so, being a kid who has an N64, after eating all sorts of chocolate, went upstairs and, locked myself in my room and just tore that game up. I say that, but it took a lot of practice.
Usually on Easter, I would just eat the little plastic grass that was in my Easter basket, like spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
It was good.
But Buck Bumble, I love that game just because, I don't know, the levels were really creative, the mechanics about it, and, you actually got to fly around, and you had to really control how you're actually levitating, and then you had to, shoot things. What really set it off for me, though, was, the whole multiplayer thing. One game that really sticks out in my mind is the, where you're playing soccer against somebody.
I forgot about that.
So, playing that with my sister, of course, I had the regular N64 controller, the one that, fits in your hands. My sister had, the gigantic, just fucking huge
mushroom.
Oh my god, dude. She used to get so pissed off. It's like, this is my N64. It's like, I don't want to play it. Well, too bad. I need somebody to play with.
You play the fucking mushroom, bitch.
And so, she would actually do okay. Actually, my sister's probably not that bad of a gamer, but I think I may have scarred her early off.
Good.
By beating her. But it was a lot of fun just playing that and just trying to get this gigantic fucking soccer ball into a goal. And I don't know, it's a solid game, and it means a lot to me.
One of my favorite memories about that game, I definitely remember that game being very hard to control and hard to shoot your enemies, and it was easy game to play but very hard to master. But I think one of the things that stuck with me most is the kind of jungle drum and bass breakbeat soundtrack that I had. The soundtrack was really good, especially at the beginning. It was just Buck Bumble. It was very fun to me for some reason.
Oh yeah, great game.
It kind of stuck in your head. But that brings me to my number 4 game, which has to be Doom for the PC. And when I was a kid, this was probably the first game that ever really scared me. But I couldn't get enough of it. Like, I played it all the time. And no matter how much it scared me, I kind of had like this need to overcome my fears. And as like a very, very easily scared young child, I took a lot of confidence in like being able to like dive into hell and destroy my fears. And I've played other Doom games since then. Doom 3 was pretty scary. I haven't played Doom 4 yet, or whatever the new Doom game is called. But Doom, the Ultimate Doom rather, and Doom 2 really stuck with me in a hard way. And I've realized, like, I let the game go. I was like, this game's outdated, it's done, I don't need to play this anymore. But after a while, I found out about the Z-Doom forums. And I mean, it started in like 92 when the game came out, but when I was in high school, I found out about it and found out about like the Z-Doom port and Skull Tag and
oh my god, Skull Tag,
Zandronum, and all this stuff, and I was like, Doom, the original Doom's still alive, and I'm here to play it because people are still like updating the game. It's still great to play because of everything that people are doing with it, and I really can't get enough of Doom.
Oh, sorry. What was that? We actually played a mod off that, didn't we?
Mega Man 8-Bit Deathmatch. We played a lot of.
Oh my god.
And there are a lot of other kind of standalone mods like that are really good. Even for Heretic and Hexen and Chex Quest, all those Doom-based games, all the Doom Engine games. There's so many mods for them. I would definitely recommend, at least at this point in time, checking out Zandronum as for Doom.
Absolutely. All right, so my number 4, it's got to be Star Fox 64.
Oh
yeah. So that game brings back a lot of memories. A lot of it has to do with like my family Thanksgivings. Main reason is because my grandma actually had an N64 there. She actually bought that just so the kids would have something to do while the adults are, drinking their coffee and, bickering about whatever.
Sucking dick.
No.
Or not.
But, like, Star Fox 64, we had 4 controllers there. 2 were regular, 2 were, the gigantic son of a bitches.
Super mutants.
Whatever the hell they were. Like, the ones that, like, you couldn't even get your hand around.
The one that nobody wanted to play on.
Pretty much. So we had 2 of those. And we used to have fights over that. Just to see who would actually, get the real controllers. And who would have to play, like, one hand on top. And just try and, just blow everybody else up. And, I don't know. When it came to Star Fox 64, it was a really fun game. And even if you didn't have people to play with, the story was great. Like, just going through and, like, just blowing shit up. I mean, maybe not so much the story, but, like, the whole campaign. It was just a fun game, and it brings back a lot of memories just playing N64 with my family. And that's why it's so nostalgic to me.
It was a good game.
Yeah.
So my number 3, I would probably go with Sega CD, something that very few people had, but I had since probably about 1995. We bought a very large collection of Sega CD games, and I think we got probably the better end of the deal because we had almost the entire Working Designs collection, which was the best JRPGs you could get at the time. All imported from Japan by Working Designs exclusively, translated by them, and honestly improved by them. And the game that I remember most, that sticks out in my mind as like the game that I really obsessed over as a child, was Vi for the Sega CD. And this game, honestly, was probably the least good of all the Working Designs translations and imports. However, the boss music got stuck in my head, and I just couldn't get it out. It was so catchy. It was like, I've never heard techno music in an anime JRPG in my whole life. And this was like one of my first forays into anime, so that was cool to me. And this first time I ever heard techno music, that was fucking cool to me. And I just couldn't get over how wonderful this game was. And I mean, honestly, we had Lunar, we had Lunar 2, we had Popful Mail, and all those games were so much better, and I loved them a lot. But Vi was just ingrained in my fucking head. I can't get over it. And we still have the strategy guide for that game and the full map that came in the box. And I still have all the boxes, and I still have my original Sega CD.
Really? All of that?
All of it.
Oh
And
my god, dude.
it's so dear to my heart. Like when I was, I just wanted all the other kids in my neighborhood to know what that was, and they didn't. And I was like, please, let's play this on the playground.
Still though, I'm taken back, dude. You still have all that?
I do.
Wow.
It's still mine.
Holy crap. Okay, so my number 2 has got to be Super Mario Brothers 64.
What about your number 3?
Oh. Well, Mario Kart. Sorry, skipped one. So, Mario Kart, my number 3. So when it comes to Mario Kart, that's another thing that, like, you know, it's another Thanksgiving thing. Considering, like, you know, my grandma had the N64 there, I used to get, like, all my cousins and everybody just into this game, and it was always just a battle royale. And, especially, you know, with the controller situation, but Mario Kart 64 is such a solid game, and there's so much rivalry there. Yeah. And you could get just so pissed off, like, you know, just from something so simple, like, you know, from a green shell to a red shell, and God help you if you're in first place, like, you know, your cousin who doesn't play video games with the blue shell. Fuck that.
Yep.
And,
8th place. You gotta get the blue shell.
Right? And, oh my god. I was actually really good at that game, especially since I actually had an N64. And so, like, I'd be, like, one of the top runners. I can't tell you how many times I got hit by a blue shell. Not trying to brag, but...
Sucks to be you, man. Always winning the fucking game.
Well, it's because, like, my family, like, they don't really game that much. I was one of the few in my family that actually played video games. Like, they'd all try and, like, you know, chip in every once in a while and, you know, play a game here and there.
Make you feel like you weren't a freak, basically?
More or less. Yeah, it actually got to a point where my parents actually referred to my room as the dungeon.
Dude, that's cool as fuck.
Right? But I used to play the fuck out of my N64, and I don't know, when it came to, like, you know, everybody coming together and playing video games, like I said, like, Star Fox 64 and Mario Kart definitely were the games that we played.
It's a real bonding experience.
Oh my god, yeah.
Among cousins, yeah. I mean, I have the same memories, to be honest.
Actually, there was one time where I was playing against my cousin Jamar, and we got into, like, you know, it was just the two of us playing, and I ended up beating him a couple times, and he started saying, oh, why are you gloating so much? Oh my god, you better stop that. It's like, I just beat your ass. Of course, I didn't say ass because I was like 9 years old. But he actually comes around and punches me in the face.
Dude.
Yeah, like, I actually have a scar, like, yeah, you can't see it there, but...
Jamar sounds ghetto as fuck.
But yeah, like...
No way.
After that, we didn't play Mario Kart for a while.
I bet.
But that shit got super, like, competitive, and I don't know, it was great. Hanging out with my cousin and everything, like, right around Thanksgiving.
I'd agree.
What's your number 2?
We did that a lot.
Oh.
My number 2, I'm fucking stalling here because I'm fucking drunk. My number 2 would have to be Final Fantasy VII for PlayStation 1. And I think I played this game, or at least witnessed this game for the first time when I was about 8 years old. My older brother got it, and my dad stayed up all night to watch him play it. Literally, my dad had no interest in video games, but when I first saw my dad be like, wow, this game is interesting, I was like, wow, this game is interesting.
Yeah.
And guess what? When I finally got to play that game after my brother had beaten it, it got handed down to me, as is the code of the family. I could not believe how fucking flabbergasted I was at this game. This is the first game ever that has had a story that's so deep and so emotional that has made me cry. I've never cried to any other game in my life but Final Fantasy VII. And people, I mean, over the years, Final Fantasy VII has risen to popularity, and of course people have tried to strike it down, being like, you guys are fucking fanboys, this is bullshit, like, who gives a shit about this game? It's all polygons, but at the time,
Yeah, hose for hands.
at the time, the polygon count really didn't matter to me. Like,
No.
it was a PlayStation game. There wasn't much better out there, and the cutscenes blew me away. I could not believe how beautiful the cutscenes were. And honestly, the cutscenes still look good. I don't think Final Fantasy VII needs a remake to get, to ruin the game, which I feel like it's going to happen. But the graphics, I can kind of tell, like, are outdated now, and I kind of agree. Like, if you're not used to that kind of thing, don't play it.
Yeah.
But the story alone was very much worth it. The gameplay, in my opinion, was still flawless for an RPG if you had enough time
Absolutely.
to sink into it, which I did when I was a middle schooler, of course. And I don't know, it was just so vibrant and wonderful. I can't really express how much this game means to me. Like, I felt like it had the perfect formula of the protagonist and the antagonist were just so interweaved in such a way that I'm not intelligent enough to explain to you guys. I'm also not sober enough to explain how much I love this game. But I really, from the bottom of my heart, think this is honestly my favorite game in the world.
Going off of that, quite honestly, Final Fantasy VII is one of my favorite games ever. Going off of nostalgia, yeah, I mean, I have memories of myself playing the game, but there's so many different games that, just really bring, like, the past up in me. Well, to say, though, Final Fantasy VII is a game I spent a shit ton of time playing. Like, I think, going back, I'm pretty sure I had about 250 hours into this game alone. Just because it was so good and I was so invested in the story. And, the only reason why it doesn't fall into this list is because, even though I feel so strongly about this game, the other games bring so many memories to me. They're just so nostalgic. And Final Fantasy VII is it's a masterpiece in its own, which is one reason why they're all thinking about bringing it back. But just going back and, just doing everything and, getting all the master materia, mastering all the materia, and then beating every single boss, it's one of my favorite games. So,
Enough of that. What's your number 2?
my number 2 has got to be Super Mario 64. So, Super Mario 64 is the first game I actually bought for myself. And it actually came with my N64, which is the reason why it's so nostalgic for me. I spent so many hours working my dad's workshop because my dad, he's a contractor, and, I had to pay for more or less everything growing up, working hours with my dad. Of course, he gave me leeway, but that was the first thing I ever actually bought on my own as far as, video games are concerned. And so, it's such a great game for me. Especially since, even going back now, it's a great game. Like, going back and, revisiting levels, yeah, I know what to expect, but it has so much replay value. And it's such a good game, and not only that, it had great graphics for back then.
It really did.
And, I don't know,
it's still good graphics for now.
yeah.
If you go back and you realize what they had to work with on the N64, the Super Mario 64 graphics still look good.
Yeah, no kidding.
For what they're doing, it is a very good-looking game.
And, I beat the hell out of that game, but with it being the first one I ever actually got, I locked myself in my room after getting it, and I played the hell out of that game. And so, I don't know, I've always been just a Mario fan. I'm definitely a Nintendo guy. And so, I don't know, when it comes to, Mario will always have a place in my heart. And with that being the first game I ever bought, and then just playing it all the way through, all the different levels, all the different enemies, it's a great game.
I would have to say that Super Mario 64 was probably the first game to really, really nail 3D platforming.
Absolutely.
That experience was unlike any other, and it was honestly the first game I ever played on the N64. And after I had played that, I didn't have an N64, but as soon as I had played that game, I went home and I picked every single dandelion in my yard, and I picked them up and I said, I wish I had an N64. I wish I had an N64. I wish I had an N64. And I never got an N64.
Well, now you have one.
Are you saying that you're an N64?
Because I'm awesome?
Whatever. Time to go to our number one.
All right, you're number one. Go on.
Putting pressure on me, man.
I'm sorry.
My number one most nostalgic game, the game that brings me back to my childhood the most, would have to be Landstalker for the Sega Genesis. This game, a lot of people would say, is a Zelda clone type of game, and I would have to say, nay to you, sir.
Ooh,
this game
strong words.
definitely draws parallels. We have the elf swordsman trying to make his way through some sort of adventure. We have the heart pickups being your life, and after that, you're pretty much done. That's all there is to be parallel to Legend of Zelda. You do have a princess to save for like midway through the game, and she's a fucking idiot, and your hero doesn't really care about her. And I mean, there's really no contest here. I think Landstalker is, for its time, far above Link to the Past. It's a 3D-ish. It tries to be 3D, an isometric game, and it's a platformer, which is something you didn't get from any Zelda game except for Zelda 2, which honestly is my favorite. People are gonna fucking kill me about that, I know.
That game was so hard.
It's a platformer, but it's also a 3D-ish-esque game. It's kind of a 2.5D game, and I loved it. I really couldn't get over how concise yet epic the adventure was. The hero had a lot of personality as much as he didn't speak whatsoever, which is something that you didn't get from Legend of Zelda. He didn't speak whatsoever and didn't have a personality. And that was N64, which it really wasn't at the same time. I don't know, man. Like, it was just so cartoony and vibrant that I felt like Legend of Zelda couldn't really contest. It was just kind of a cut above. A lot of people have complained about the isometric controls, you know, like up, right, down, left, up, left, down, right kind of thing, and I guess it's a valid point. Like, some people just can't get used to that sort of isometric control style, but for me, that was my first isometric game, and I picked it up like it was nothing. It really wasn't hard for me, and I've played many isometric games since then, and have also not had the same problem. Like, doing the whole northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest control style is not a big deal. And I think that the motive for the main character being a treasure hunter going after a big game treasure is a lot more interesting than going after the silent princess. For some people, maybe for some people it isn't. I guess it's less romantic, but at the same time more heroic. I don't know, more chaotic neutral. But I feel like that game has such a special place in my heart that Legend of Zelda can never take. And that's my number one.
Let's say you've actually let me play Landstalker, and that's a great game.
It is.
I haven't gotten far in it, but even still, it's so much fun to play, and the mechanics in it, it's such a fun game. And I don't know, I'd love to actually beat that game.
We'll take a shot.
Okay, sounds good.
You've got it.
You got it.
Yeah, I have it. It's available to you.
Okay, but that brings me to my number one. My number one, it's got to be Super Mario Bros. 3.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's the first game I've ever beaten, and I beat that back when I was like 9. But it's because my dad actually bought me a Nintendo forever ago. I think when I was 5, he finally got me a Nintendo, and we got the classic games Super Mario Brothers with Duck Hunt, and then Super Mario Brothers 2, which
Donkey Donkey.
but
Donkey Donkey.
but Super Mario Brothers 3, that's a game that I really flourish at.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, when it comes to Super Mario Brothers 3, I learned... I learned a lot about that game just from playing it, and... I don't know, like... I love that game so much, just because... It's such an easy game to play, but it's so hard at the same time. And...
It's true. It's hard to master because you need to know a lot about the level design.
Yeah.
It's level memorization at its finest.
Yeah,
really.
Which is why I'm really good at it. But at the same time, like, you know, just finding out, like, you know, the hidden secrets, which my family didn't, like, you know, pick up on that. Like, I used to play that with my cousin every once in a while, and he would always be Luigi since I had the game. And so, like, you know, we'd go through the worlds and, you know, get everything, and I ended up, like, finding out all the secrets and everything like that, and just because I played it so much, because I loved it so much, I can come back to that game and still have a great time after time after time. And I don't know, it's such a fun game to play, and considering it's the first game I ever beat, it has like a huge place in my heart.
Yeah.
And I don't know, after playing it so much, I'm pretty sure I know everything about that game.
It's got a huge place in pretty much all our hearts, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That game is so iconic that I don't think any gamer can not relate to playing Super Mario Brothers 3 when they were a child. I remember some of the first memories of, you know, like being a hardcore gamer alongside you, Joe, was we played River City Ransom all the way through in one night, and then after that we were like, you know what, we're not done. Let's go ahead and play Super Mario Brothers 3. And we beat every goddamn level of the whole game, no warp whistles. We just went straight through the game sequentially in that same night that we beat River City Ransom.
Yeah, and that was a great night.
It was such a wonderful night. That was when I feel like we really made our pact as gamer brothers. And we're still here, however fucking many years later. This has got to be 8 or 9 years later. We're still here, best gamer friends in the world.
Yeah. Cheers to that, buddy.
So cheers to that. Yeah. That's got to be pretty much our video for our top 5 nostalgia games. So let's go ahead and really quickly just list off a couple of honorable mentions. I think my first one's going to be Facsanity for the NES.
Duke Nukem.
Star Tropics for the NES.
Duck Hunt.
The whole Mega Man series for the NES.
Mega Man 2.
Sonic 2.
Golden Axe.
Warcraft 2.
Diablo 2.
Furcadia for the PC.
Power Rangers for Sega Genesis.
Power Rangers the movie, the game. There's a lot of Sega Genesis Power Rangers games.
Sorry.
Very good beat 'em up. In line with Streets of Rage. In line with the Turtles games.
Oh, Streets of Rage on Jam-Pack.
We're going to have to end it there before we get too carried away.
Oh yeah, we're going to go with
Thank
this
you,
all
everybody,
night.
for being with us in our top 5 nostalgic countdown. Super Sentai Beer Guys, out!